Well, at this point, we will be continuing our conversation right now on the threat. Yes, it's becoming a threat. It became a threat, or it sounded like a threat of the U.S. president to come into Nigeria, guns a-blazing, he said. And that is still creating ripples. Well, we've seen quite a number of reactions from the federal government of Nigeria, urging understanding. And we're going to be going to Lagos now, where our very first guest, Mr. Kabiru Dakata, is on standby. He has a PhD in Security and Strategic Studies from the National Defense Academy and is also the Director General of the Kano State Signage and Advertisement Agency. Good morning, let's say Dr. Dakata. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm sure that you have been looking at reactions from different cadres of people, from governments, from well-meaning Nigerians, from those who are concerned, because there are those who have said, look, let's not bury our head in the sand like an ostrich. We do have a problem here. And there are those who actually do feel targeted by the security challenges that Nigeria has been confronted with. What are your immediate thoughts in terms of what we've seen so far as the reactions to President Trump's statement?
Thank you very much, Maupe. First, let me correct you. I'm yet to earn that PhD. I'm still a candidate in Nigerian Defense Academy. Thank you for the well wish. And about the reactions, you see, his threat or warning sparked mixed reactions. You know, for some people, they saw it as an echo of the fears they live with, especially those in the affected communities. The fear about the banditry, the fear about the terrorism, the fear about kidnapping, and what have you. So for them, it's like an external validation of the fears. For the leaders and policymakers, it was like a wake-up call for them. A reminder to them that the world is watching them. The world is paying attention to what is happening here. Though some of them were defensive. But then the broader sentiment is very clear. If insecurity persists, it affects our global image as a country, it will affect the investment climate, and it affects even the humanitarian stability. So the actions are diverse and coming from different stakeholders. It depends on where one belongs to.
All right, so I'd like you to take two major stakeholders. First, the reactions from government. We've seen, you know, there's been a meeting by the NSA and the chief security, beg your pardon, the security chiefs. They had a meeting. Of course, the meeting wasn't for public consumption, but we knew as journalists that they held this meeting. And then shortly after, we also saw statements released by, short tweets released by the president's aide. We also saw the reaction of Nigeria's president as well, reiterating Nigeria's stance for religious tolerance and saying that people of all faiths, you know, will continue to have the freedom of worship. That's what we've seen in terms of the immediate response. We yesterday saw a world press conference granted by Nigeria's Minister of Information, as well as a number of other top government functionaries in that regard. Are you satisfied with the level of reaction of Nigeria's government, or do you think that they ought to be doing something more that we are not seeing?
Yes, I think, like I said, it should be a wake-up call for us, and for the government, we should not be defensive. We should see it as a constructive criticism, not like an interference from the foreign stakeholders. We should see it as a constructive criticism and do the needful. And if you look at the situation, of course, it's a tragic and complex situation. You know, the killings are still going on. So we need to face the reality and do what is important, so that we don't ridicule ourselves. If you look at what is happening in states like Zamfara, Kaduna, Katsina, Borno, Plateau. You see, people are being killed on the daily basis. So the terrorism, the banditry, the communal conflict, so it's not a funny one. And if you look at the impact, it's devastating. Lives are being lost. Families are being displaced. Children are out of school. Even the food production is collapsing. So it's no longer even a northern problem. It is becoming a national crisis. So the government should see that as a constructive criticism and a wake-up call for us to address our problems. There is need for reforms, reassessment of the security architecture.
Mr. Nakata, if I may, just a moment, sorry to interrupt your thoughts, but if I may, if the U.S. president had said that, this is about lives and terrorism in Nigeria, perhaps people will not be as apprehensive as they have been, but he, narrowed it down to a particular group of people. He spoke specifically about Christians. Yes, you are saying we should broaden it, but, there are those who have said that statement alone had the potential to cause further mayhem in Nigeria. Do you think that so far so good, there has been sufficient rallying of Nigerians by the government of the day to see how we can begin to bridge whatever fault lines exist between us?
That component is lacking, but I think is a challenge for us to reflect on that. You see, but that's one thing with the narrative. The bias aspect of the narrative is what some people are complaining about. But it's true, we are facing our insecurity challenge, and we welcome any support from external forces to address the challenges. But the government on its part, government at the federal level, government at the state level, they have responsibilities, including, going to the grassroots, localize the peace-building process, dialogue, reconciliation, economic empowerment. We need to also look at it from non-kinetic aspect. Our state governors need to empower the youth. Here we can commend some governors like Kano, reinstatement or revival of the 26 entrepreneurship institutes that were closed down by the previous Ganduja's administration. Now youth are being engaged, youth are being productive. Just recently, thousands of youths graduated and they were given support capital to start up the business and equipment. So the state governors, and it's beyond working in isolation, they need to coordinate themselves. They need to come together. This is a serious regional issue that is now drawing the attention of the international community.
I was just looking at a story from the Office of the Chief of Air Staff. He's ordered now some more strikes on terrorist spots across the country. And then we're now hearing from the government, those that are being, those who they've arrested and those who are being tried. So in many ways, despite how many people may feel about the way President Donald Trump said what he said, it's actually necessitated some action. I want to be able to get you to talk to us about some responses that the Nigerian government should be giving. Well, yes, we've heard from the National Orientation Agency that this is probably a product of poor intelligence given to the United States, asking them to broaden their sources of information. What other actions should they be taking right now to restore, most importantly, confidence of the Nigerian people in our government and its ability to protect its people regardless of their religion?
I think the system needs to be inclusive, and the government needs to communicate to the public in a clear way. There should be accountability and transparency in the process. And there should be a commitment by the government to show that what the government is doing is an honest effort, And we should be very careful so that this threat or this warning should not lead the conversation ahead of 2027 general elections. We should see this as something that affects everybody. The call is on, that Christians are being killed. But everybody, and I'm happy with the reactions of some of the Christians in the country to say, look, the issue in the country is not about one religion or one ethnicity. So the pattern of the violence is not, scaring anybody. And that is why the government needs to look inward to see that, we don't need to tell ourselves that the security model is overstretched and reactive in most cases, rather than being preventive. These are some of the actions that the government needs to take, that it should include all the relevant stakeholders in the peace building process at the grassroots, the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, the youth leaders, all the relevant stakeholders, and let them own the process at the grassroots. We should not make it as a national conversation. Let everybody feel part of the process. And I'm assuring you, we can address the problem. And for the people, we should not see this as a divisive, call. We should see it as a challenge to love one another, because peace and development go hand in hand, and we all need ourselves to develop. And that's why it is something that has to do with everybody in the country, irrespective of the religion or the ethnicity one belongs to.
Just very quickly, because yesterday we also heard the Minister of Information say that this narrative has been fueled by foreign lobbyists. What would you say to those who genuinely feel that they're being targeted in the onslaught that has, become what we're seeing, especially in the north-central region of Nigeria?
I think they should give that benefit of doubt to the government. They should be confident, and they should, don't take laws into their hands. In this country, we have seen a lot of things that we don't want to fuel the situation. The security situation is still fragile, and this is the time that governments at all levels need to be closer to the people and let the process be inclusive. Let everybody feel involved in the process. It's not something about, that external forces should come and determine how we govern our security system. But we need their support in, the area of intelligence management, the area of technical support and training. All those supports are important and are needed. But we should be confident with our government at all levels, and the government needs to be closer to the people so that together we can address these threats.
All right. Kabiru Dakata, thank you so much for your thoughts, sharing them on our program this morning. He is a PhD candidate for Security and Strategic Studies at the National Defense Academy. We certainly wish you all the very best as you try to achieve your PhD. And currently, he's the Director General of the Kano State Signage and Advertisement Agency, CASA. Thank you once more for speaking with us, Mr. Dakata.
Thank you, Maope.
Well, we take a short break now. When we return, we'll be switching gears to the elections in Anambra, speaking to one of the candidates going into that election. In just a moment, please stay with us.